The big factor for the Brisbane market is that the future looks really strong. Brisbane and southeast Queensland continue to lead the nation on population growth from internal migration. That's people moving from one part of the nation to another. And there is a major infrastructure spend underway with big ticket projects totaling around $30 billion under construction. And there's more to come because Brisbane and southeast Queensland needs to invest in infrastructure to get ready for the 2032 Olympics. And this means that while there will be ups and downs along the way, Brisbane will be a growth market for the next 10 years at least. At the moment, Brisbane remains a national leader on price growth, although its performance on sales activity has declined a little so far this year in a period impacted by major disruptions. Hotspotting's latest quarterly survey of sales activity has identified 153 Brisbane suburbs as either rising markets or consistency markets. That compares with 169 in the survey 3 months earlier and 180 in the one before that. Our quarterly analyses indicate that the Brisbane market probably peaked in the second half of 2021 and in terms of sales volumes has been gradually subsiding since then. The number of suburbs classified as rising markets in the past 8 quarterly surveys over the past 2 years shows the pattern of the market. 2 years ago there were 56 sales in the quarter, then in the next quarter 124, then 141, then 163 and then 168. So that pattern shows the market rising, but since then we've seen the number of quarterly sales drop from that 168 peak to 159 and then 130 in the latest survey. Now this indicates that the market may have passed its peak, although in a period of major disruption, but it remains at levels much higher than those historic norms. In the 6 years prior to 2021, the average number of rising markets in our quarterly surveys was 42, so the numbers in the latest survey are 3 times higher than that average. Now the period under review featured major rain bomb events in Brisbane, including significant floods in late February, early March, and this undoubtedly affected sales numbers, although prices, surprisingly perhaps, have remained elevated. There's also been a series of interest rate rises and an absolute orgy of negative media. The sales activity pattern across Greater Brisbane shows that the affordable outer ring areas have maintained their strong levels, or in some cases they've actually improved on them. But it's the middle and inner ring areas which have weakened. The busiest markets continue to include Logan City in the south, Edgeworth City in the southwest, the Moreton Bay region up in the north, and Redland City in the Bayside areas. And these markets together comprise the more affordable sections of the Greater Brisbane market. The markets which have shown the greatest reduction in their sales activity patterns are the Brisbane Inner Precinct and the Brisbane South Precinct. And these are both areas which were impacted by the February-March flooding. Now, a previous survey 3 months earlier, 20 of the 23 Brisbane inner suburbs were rising markets, but in our latest survey there were only 11 rising and 4 consistency markets. It's still a solid position, but it's much less buoyant than before. And it's the Brisbane South Precinct that's declined most. Of the 31 suburbs in our analysis, 23 were rising markets 3 months earlier, but only 13 of them in the latest survey. Now, amid all the disruption, Brisbane remains a national leader on house price growth, with its median price for houses up 27% in the last 12 months. Every suburb in the Greater Brisbane area recorded house price growth in the past year, and 96% of suburbs had double-digit increases. 3/4 of Brisbane area suburbs rose by more than 20%. And in the most recent quarter, all but 2 suburbs recorded house price growth, with 2/3 of suburbs rising by more than 5% in that quarter alone. Apartment markets have also been lifting, with 93% of suburbs with unit markets delivering annual increases in their median prices. Overall, the Moreton Bay region in the north of the Greater Brisbane area has been one of the outstanding markets. 33 suburbs have had growth above 20% in their median house prices in the past 12 months. So if you're hearing from mainstream media that prices have been falling everywhere across Australia, that certainly does not apply in the Greater Brisbane area, especially in those more affordable locations.